Where did my time go? 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 104 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and have you ever had days where time was flying by? You look around, you say, okay, it's 5 p.m., then you look back, it's 7. And I'm not talking about the very nice and happy moments where you're enjoying something, time flies, and again, you're fully aware of what's happening because you're enjoying it. But I'm talking about those days where nothing really happens, you end up doom scrolling your day through, and then you look at the clock and the day is over. How can we combat that? And most importantly, is there an alternative? Well, I'm here to say to you that yes, there is. And before we do that, as always, if you like the idea, if you like the concept, it would be truly appreciated if you could leave a like or a subscribe if you want to follow along for the rest of the journey. Having said that, now let's understand what happens when actually you control the time. The topic of today was inspired by the previous episode. If you haven't listened, I really encourage you to have a bit more context. But during the day when this Sunday, where I was able to do so much during a normal Sunday, where usually, as I told you, the only thing that usually I can accomplish is relax a bit here and there and do my house chores. And why is that? Because a lot of the time that I use between activities is filled by nothing, by numbness, by, again, doom scrolling, doing stuff that doesn't really have a priority in my day. And the problem is that when you don't choose deliberately your actions, when stuff just happens, also your perception of the time around you becomes negligible because you are not aware of the things that are happening around you. You are not involved truly in what you do. So your perception and your alert level just decreases. And it decreases so much that you are there for a time that you don't even realize. And that's why they call it doom scrolling. And that's why they're that great at doing it, because the context is just there to waste your time. It's the same with, if you see overall, I don't want to, of course, this helps my kind of format, but deliberately long podcasts that don't really deliver something, they're just long for the sake of being long. Documentaries that talk about nothing for 3 hours, and then at the end, they tell you what they could have, been a 30-minute essay. Overall, there is, and this is, something that we all know, there is a desire to take your time. And how do we combat that? Well, for me, it's, again, setting a priority. And even if you don't like it, and it's something that also I don't like to do because I know it removes from myself the freedom that I could have from just choosing my activity, but you have to plan your things. You have to plan your activities. Specifically, and again, that's why I related to the episode of yesterday, when I told myself that I would speed run cleaning in 1 hour, after 1 hour passed. And given that I was doing and giving it everything to that task, there was nothing that distracted me. There was nothing that stopped me from doing the activity within that hour. And this is the magic. And I was constantly looking at the clock throughout the day, and I was like, only? Is it only this time? Because what happens is that you're used, in your normal perception, that feeling of time flying actually doesn't happen. Because again, you are involved in the activity that you chose. You are involved in something that you wanted to do for a specific amount of time. Therefore, there is nobody that can steal it. We were talking about doom scrolling. If it doesn't become doom scrolling, but you're like, okay, 5 minutes, I'm there. I'm just doing that. I know it's 5 minutes. When the 5 minute hits, again, it was 5 minutes. Whereas if you just say, I'm going to sit on the couch and see, and then you see one thing that you like, you see another, you get a notification, you see a video. It's like, I wanted to watch this. And you don't have control. You just, things passes in front of you and you just accept it constantly. There is no filter. There are no rules. And again, it's not to say that this is not okay, because we do it constantly, during our normal day-to-day basis, when, I don't know, when we visit places or when we have a day out, these things happen, you just go from one thing to the other. But again, usually it is time constrained. Another example that I can give you, I'm relating again to other episodes, but it's again, as at the basis of this format, there are my experiences, so I have to tell you why I say certain things. When I was on the hike with my friend, we arrived at around 11ish and we left at 4. And overall, the time that we passed together felt like the whole day, whereas it was just, I don't know, 5 hours. And I really, once I was back, I was like, it's crazy how if I just stayed home and did nothing, or just, did my usual things, these 5 hours would have flew by without any kind of benefit for me. Whereas I was able to do that in the same amount of time. And maybe, this is of course something that it's granted, but you feel so much more rewarded for the same amount of time that you spend doing something. Therefore, what I want to encourage you is that try to be as deliberate as possible with your actions, not because you need control or you need to know exactly how things are happening, but because the moment that you are deliberate, and that's the hard addition, you're also focused on what you do, well, then the magic happens and you are able to concentrate and get all the benefits from the things that you chose to do. And to conclude, this doesn't have to be something that is always productive or, it has to be for things that you need to do. It can also be for fun things. If you decide that you want to watch a movie and the movie is 2 hours, you know that, and again, you are fully dedicating those 2 hours to that, because that is the trick. And it happens to me too. And that's why, I get so involved when I tell you this, because there are things that are bothering myself and I'm trying to see if, maybe by saying it out loud to somebody else, you're able to pick on that. You say, okay, I'm going to watch this movie, 2 hours, perfect. 10 minutes pass, 15 minutes pass, and you're like, I have to do this. Oh, I got a notification. Let me reply to this. And then you didn't decide for how much you wanted to stop. So maybe 30 minutes pass. I was like, I had to watch the movie. You go again, 20 minutes, and then something happens again. And the problem is that after now 1 hour and a half passed, you're not even half into the movie. It's getting late, or again, the 2 hours that you allocated to that task are almost over. You're like, I'll drop it. I'll see it another time. Whereas if you actually just dedicated and focused on the task, 2 hours, you would have been done. You would have seen the movie, you would have fully enjoyed it, and you were in control of time. So when you want to plan something, don't just think of, I'm restricting myself, I'm setting rules for myself. It's not about that. See it in the perspective of, I'm deliberately choosing how to spend my time, therefore allowing me to actually enjoy more the things that I like to do. Of course, between the things that need to happen in a day, you'll also have things that you don't enjoy that much. It's normal, unless you're in vacation. But if you're in vacation, rules don't apply. But on a normal day-to-day basis, you have to balance between what you have to do and what you like to do. And the moment that you use the same dedication to both real and, important activities and your relaxation, well, then you'll get the best out of both worlds. And finally, you'll be in control of your time, which is, and I think everybody can agree, your most valuable resource. Everybody wants to steal it, and you have to keep it for yourself. Having said that, this was all for episode 104 of the Shower Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. If you liked the episode, feel free to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you're on Spotify, you can always leave a review. Thank you very much for listening, and stay consistent, stay resilient, and see you at the next one.